Waiting on it to show up on Instagram. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. And welcome in, everybody. You'll notice I'm alone for night chat for the week 5 reaction. Waiting on Drew to join. I think he's going to join, but if not, I still wanted to go live, join, talk about some of the games we saw this week, and hopefully Drew will join. If not, I guess it'll just be me and you guys. There is no other place we should start this than Athens, Georgia. I told myself I was going to go through and I was going to do night chat regardless of the outcome. And to be honest, I'm not surprised that this happened, like in the slightest. This has kind of become what I feel until the status quo changes. This is what we should expect. Bama just beats Georgia for whatever reason, for whatever. And I think a lot of this result a lot of the predictions for this game leading up to the week really stemmed from what a lot of people saw in that Florida State game. And I think something that a lot of people don't take into account when they try to predict a game like this is it's the first game of the season, it's on the road, and it's a new offense for Florida State that, while isn't gimmicky, is a little bit different and a little bit harder to defend. So when you saw the result, you saw it was very shocking because you assumed this Bama team was going to be really good. Me the same. But then they learned a lot from that first week. And leading up to this week, I thought to myself, I was like, how much of that result can I factor into my analysis of this game? Like looking at Georgia, looking at Bama, who they've played, what I've seen. I was like, I really think Bama can attack this defense. And they didn't quite do it the way I thought they would. They were surprisingly, the run game's still not there. It was there enough tonight to help out a little bit. But man, my hat goes off to Ty Simpson. In this game, he was ice cold, dude. He was calm, steady hand, and dealing. He was making the right plays. He was making the right reads, putting the ball where it needed to be. I mean, when you start 8 for 8 on third down, you're going to make it hard to beat because number one, what you're doing is moving your team down the field. You're staying on schedule. You're also eating up time, which eats up possessions and takes time off the clock. So I think at one point in time during the broadcast, they made a point about Georgia had the ball. I think it was 14-0 at the time. And they're like, this is only Georgia's 17th play of the first half. Because when you start and you go 3 and out immediately and then kick it to Bama and they go 14 plays, that's time and possessions that you're not getting back for Georgia. So, man, I'm really impressed with Ty Simpson and the way he looked tonight. Also, on that same note, I'm very underwhelmed with Georgia's defensive line because I don't think they were able to pressure Ty the way they were going to or the way they wanted to, which helped him to be able to just deal. So this is a huge win for Bama. This is a huge win for DeBoer. Kind of felt like after the Florida State game, I know in SEC play they weren't, but it kind of felt like they were going to play every game like back against the wall. Like, hey, we've got to have this because we looked so bad that first week. There are still question marks I have about this Bama team. They were my national championship pick preseason because I liked a lot of the pieces they had. I feel better about that tonight after this result, but I still don't feel foolproof about it. I don't know. There's something, it feels like there could be a time where they have this run game not being there and it not being consistent enough really, really could bite them. So huge win for Bama. Absolutely massive win because of the stigma of Kalen DeBoer on the road. I know the LSU game last year was a kind of an outlier, but huge win for Bama, huge win for Kalen DeBoer. Let's move to the Georgia side of this. So where are we at now? Georgia's 1-9 versus Bama in the last 10. Kirby's 1-7. So it feels like a lot of the times when we talk about Georgia, and we talk about teams playing Georgia, specifically, we'll go to the Tennessee game because it's a really close example. A lot of the times, teams fail to make the one or two or three plays that they need to really put that team away. And from what I've watched with Georgia, it feels like they do that. They do what teams fail to do against Georgia against Alabama. And a couple of examples I have of that from tonight where obviously the fumble from Nate Frazier was crucial because I think it was 7-14 at that point. If you tie that game, even if you go down and you kick a field goal and it's 10-7, but to turn the ball over at your own 17-yard line and immediately hand that back to Bama after they had snatched so much momentum was it was great for the defense to hold them to 3, but it was just brutal. It was just brutal to lose that fumble there. And then the thing that had me scratching my head the most with this Georgia team was when it was 24-21. It felt so uncharacteristic for Kirby and this team to with the success that they had running the ball, to try to line up, catch Bama off guard. That just felt so out of character. And then of course you run the play, Cash gets stopped, and it's a massive momentum swing. I know the argument there is probably take the field goal, because at that point in time you had kind of gotten to the point where you were leaning on that D line and you were having massive success running the ball. It was just weird. The rushing to the line, the let's snap the ball quick, let's get this play in. I'm like, that just felt so out of place from the way the rest of the game had played. You would run the ball well. I think at one point in time I saw a clip on Twitter. Somebody said that if Kirby and them would have slowed down, they probably would have reviewed it. It looked like Gunner picked up the first down, because I think he had to get to the 7-yard line and potentially he made it to the 7, if not close. He was maybe between the 7 and the 8, so he was real close. It felt so weird. It felt so out of character for Kirby and for this Georgia team to, in that situation, try to rush a play and almost catch Bama off guard instead of sticking to your guns and what had worked for you. So I don't know. It's the same old. It's Georgia. If you look at this team, it comes down to a few moments in the game. Of course, it's easy to look and say, well, Bama started 8 for 8 on third down, but they kind of did what Tennessee did. They shocked this Georgia defense. They shocked them quick. They were efficient early on, and then Georgia and Kirby and Glenn Schumann kind of made some adjustments, and they slowed them down a little bit, and they started being a little bit more effective on defense. And then just that uncharacteristic rushing to get a play in felt so weird. I don't know. It's weird. But hey, at this point, I don't think when Georgia and Alabama play, I think the assumption should be that Alabama's going to win and I think that's a fair assumption, until Georgia proves that they can do it. It doesn't seem like they're going to. So it's a tough loss for Georgia fans. It's the 33 home streaks gone, which, you knew that was going to break eventually. Those streaks always do. But it's your nemesis, man. It's the shadow. It's the voodoo you can't shake. It's Alabama. And now we could. I was talking to my brother about this game early on, and I looked at him and I was like, watching the way that Bama's played, I'm like, in a few weeks or later on in the season, we could probably see this Bama team at one point, and maybe they don't have their A game. Maybe they're not fully putting it together, and people are like, this is the team that went into Athens and beat Georgia, and it's like, I think you just kind of throw all that out the window when Bama plays Georgia, because until I see something that convinces me otherwise, it just feels like Georgia's off and Bama is on. I don't want to sit here and say this result happened because Georgia wasn't Georgia. It's certainly not. The reason is because Bama come out hot. And it seems like for somehow, some way, the way that people talked about Georgia being able to elevate in the Tennessee game, when Bama rolls in and they play Georgia, whether it's in Tuscaloosa or it's in the SEC championship game or anywhere, they elevate. They elevate their play. It's like they know who they're playing. They know who the opponent is. And they're like, all right, we're ready. Here we are. And we're not going to get that. I don't think we're going to get that result from this Bama team every game. But we'll have to see. I mean, I still think this team could be a national championship team and could make a playoff run. But it's a long season, so we'll see. We'll see what we have. We got some comments from Dr. B. I've given DeBoer hell play calling, but that bootleg pass on the final third down was absolute genius. Yeah, him and Ryan Grubb, that last play, the bootleg to Jam Miller, it was a thing of beauty. And it was one of those where it felt like they were saving it for a needed third down because Raylan Wilson right there, or not Raylan Wilson, but I don't know who the edge was right there that rushed towards Ty and didn't go with Jam. He's in an impossible situation because his two options, if he does decide to back off and try to catch up to Jam Miller, which I don't think he's going to, Ty just runs for the first down. Like it was such a beautiful play call, and it felt like one that they had been saving for a moment like that when they knew they'd needed it, and they called it at the perfect time. So it was hats off to Ryan Grubb because it felt like for most of this game, he was kind of a step ahead of Glenn Schumann. So that's absolute hats off to Ryan Grubb. Interested to see what both these teams do the rest of the year. I know Georgia's got Kentucky at home next week, and Bama's got Vandy at home next week. And we all remember what happened last year, so I'm sure that's going to be a big point of emphasis for Bama in this week to be like, hey, relish in that Georgia win. Sunday morning, we're on to Vandy. Like it's next man up, next game up. Don't let this game trap us. Don't let what happened last year happen to us again. Let's move on and move forward. So, yeah, that's closing thoughts for the Georgia Bama game. We might see these teams again in the SEC title game because the way that Texas has looked, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of faith in Texas. I know they were a preseason favorite to win the SEC title game, but I say that they could get it figured out with Arch. Ole Miss looks pretty dangerous. They took down LSU today, and I think that's a good point. I think that's a good way to move on. Oh, excuse me. So, second game of the Core Four we picked this week: LSU and Ole Miss, man. And once again, I don't know who the reporter was, and I don't know if the timing of it was great when he asked Brian Kelly about the run game after a win, but man, that question kind of showed up again today. Caden Durham didn't play, but gosh, LSU, 22 carries, 57 yards. It creates this, I don't want to say sense of urgency, but it creates this almost like need to make a play from Garrett Nussmeier, and I don't think he thrives with that kind of pressure on him. I think Garrett Nussmeier is one of those guys where when all the pressure's on him and he's the sole reason that the LSU offense is moving, it kind of goes south. It kind of goes south really fast. I figured at some point this inability to run the ball consistently would catch up to LSU, and it looks like it did. It looks like it did in this game. I've got to give an apology to Ole Miss. I've got to issue a straight up, my bad, I was wrong, because early on in the season, looking at this team and looking what they'd lost and looking what they filled it with out of all the transfer portal players, I thought they would be in a bit of a rebuilding year. I thought like 7-5 would be about where they're at. And then I felt, pretty good about that prediction watching Austin Simmons, because I was like, man, he's the talent's there, but he's kind of turnover prone. And then Austin ends up going down in the Kentucky game, and Trinidad Shambliss comes in, and brother, this team, no disrespect to Austin Simmons, and I want him to get healthy and have a thriving career, but this team's better with Trinidad at the helm. He just looks more poised. He looks like he has more command and control. I feel like he's a better decision maker. This team looks more dangerous when Trinidad plays, and I think that's a testament to just that he's played more football. Like, he's just an older guy. He was a D2 guy. I think they said on the broadcast that he had won a D2 national championship, so he's been around a lot more football. I feel like this team's a lot more dangerous with Trinidad Shambliss. Forgive me, guys. I'm fighting a scratchy throat with Trinidad Shambliss starting for them. So Interested to see. It's a big win for Ole Miss. It's a big win for Lane Kiffin. I liked his little joke there at the end about I need to find Wit and see if we got the over. Um, but yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for LSU if this run game is this brutal all year because the defense is real and the defense is legit and I think they're kind of in a situation like Florida to me where obviously LSU is a better team than Florida right now. I don't not implying that they're not, but it feels like they're one of those teams where the defense is going to be good enough to keep them in games, and if the offense can just put it together, they'll have success. But it might be the inverse of what we've seen from LSU's Brian Kelly and LSU the past couple of years, where it's like one side of the ball is so good and the other side just can't seem to figure it out. And I feel like we're doing the same thing this year, but it's the defense now that's really good, and the offense is just going to struggle. Garrett made some less than desirable decisions as the LSU quarterback today, and it ultimately ended up costing them this game. So hats off to Ole Miss. Hats off to Lane Kiffin. A big win for the Rebels um, over the Tigers. Let's move on to the other 3:30 game before we circle back and finish. Man, I don't know what to make of Auburn. I just it feels like there's so much on Jackson Arnold that he's just not. I don't know if he's just not ready for or not comfortable with. But it feels like we're in the same spot with Auburn than we were last year, where it's like so much is being put on an emphasis with Peyton Thorne, and now it's Jackson Arnold, and it just feels like it takes so much for this Auburn team to move the ball that the run game's inconsistent. If they're not finding cheap ways to get runs with Jackson Arnold, then if they do finally get a big play, there's some kind of penalty that gets them that pulls it back. It's just yikes, man. It's just yikes. I think they can still pick off some teams if they're not ready for it, but back-to-back road games, Jackson Arnold struggled again, 3.8 yards on average, 18 for 33. It's just whoever at the SEC was like, "Hey, let's send Auburn on back-to-back road trips to Oklahoma and Texas A&M, and let's put it with Texas A&M coming off of a bye week." Yeah, that sounds great. They must hate Auburn. I mean, I said it in the preview, like talking about when Florida had to play or when DJ Lagway had to see Reuben Bain and Harold Perkins Jr. back to back. I'm like, somebody's just got it out for these guys, and it felt like that with Auburn. It doesn't get any easier for the Tigers. It does not. You've got a bye week, and then you got Georgia at home, and then you got a hot Missouri team before you play Arkansas on the road. So they've just got to figure out an easier way to move the ball. Whether that's Jeremiah Cobb or getting Cam Coleman more involved because he had 4 receptions for 18 yards. Maybe it's just the style of offense that Hugh and them run, but it feels like nothing comes easy for this Auburn offense. And they're another one of those teams, I think, like LSU, that has a pretty solid defense that's going to keep them in games. But the offense is just going to struggle to put it together. And I think it's going to be ultimately ending up being the downfall of Auburn. So tough scenes out there on the plains for the boys. All right, guys. Let's move on to our last Core 4 game of the week. Penn State, dude. I don't like this. I don't like being able to just like I don't like what I did in the preview where like I looked at these games and I'm like, this is why Penn State could win and this is why Oregon can win and ultimately I'm picking Oregon off of principle because Drew Aller hasn't been it in these big games. Penn State hasn't been it in these big games. We all know James Franklin's record in these top 5 matchups, but like I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it happened again. It happened again, man. The offense was just not great. I think at the half they had like 69 yards of total offense or something like that. That's just not that's not good enough. It's good enough to beat everyone else in the Big Ten outside of Oregon, Michigan, and Ohio State. And I'm including Michigan in some of the better Michigan teams because I think Penn State dodges Michigan this year, but with Bryce Underwood and what I've seen from Michigan, they're going to get better and they're going to be harder to beat in the years to come. So until it's not, this is just who Penn State is. Um, Solid on the ground, 139 yards between Drew Aller, Katron Allen, and Nicholas Singleton. Trevor Penna even had a couple of carries. But it's the same story as the Big Ten title game last year. They rushed for over 200 yards, still lost. And when it comes down to these crucial moments, like I thought at the end of the game, I thought, okay, Penn State's put it together. They've tied it. Like they've seized the momentum. They're at home. This is the moment where they finally don't squander away a big game. And Drew Aller throws a pick. At some point, when someone shows you enough times a consistent result, it's kind of like the same thing we talked about in the Georgia Bama game. When you're shown something enough times, eventually you stop thinking it's a coincidence. And this is where I'm at with Penn State. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence anymore that they lose these big games. Whether it's play calling or the moment's too big or a mix of both, that Penn State just finds a way to not come up with the plays they need in these top 5 matchups. And until they find a way to elevate as a program, I'm not going to pick them in these games. Drew Aller, man, he was just average again. I wasn't buying into the whole, like the way that Penn State had looked offensively in their first 3 games. I wasn't buying into the whole vanilla narrative where it was like, hey, we're just not showing anything because we don't have to. I feel like that's an excuse. I don't feel like that's a good thing to be able to just say, oh yeah, we just look vanilla. It's like, I feel like that's going to come back to bite you. And it did. Ultimately, it did. I think the style of coaching in this game is a big difference in the result too, because Dan Lanning's aggressive, man. And he's one of those coaches that when he has a moment, whether it comes back to bite him, and it probably will, and it probably has, he's going to try to seize it. Going for it on 4th down a few times in this game. They are a team that hunts. Oregon is a team that hunts, and that's an identity that they've picked up from their head coach. It's a core fundamental of their program, and I think it's what's going to help them in these big games. I think it helped them last year against Ohio State. I think it helped them last year against Ohio State the first time. The second time, totally different story. I think it helped them against Penn State tonight. Like, it did. And man, I can't get over how good Dante Moore's looked. He just looks so smooth, man. 29 of 39, 248 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He looks like a quarterback that the moment's not too big for him. And that's not to say that he won't have a bad game at some point. But looking at Oregon's schedule, even if he does have a bad game, I don't know how in danger this Oregon team is of losing. They've got Indiana at home next week, at Rutgers, Wisconsin, at Iowa. I mean, we talked about it a few shows ago. Someone asked me, we had a viewer question, who is your most like sure in, feel the best about to make the playoff and make a playoff run? And it's Oregon. I mean, this schedule the rest of the season, as long as they play to their standard, and I think Dan Lanning will make them play to their standard. I don't think he'll let them get in their head about how good they are. I don't see any reason why they don't finish the season 12-0. DeCorian Moore, gosh, man, there were a lot of questions when Evan Stewart went down in the preseason for Oregon. there was a lot of questions about the receiver room. Who's going to step up? Like we expect Corian Moore to be good, but we don't actually know. He's been everything that we thought he was going to be. He's been incredible, man. The more to more connections, nuts. But just, God, like Oregon's so good. Oregon's so good, man. The defense plays with tenacity. Dante Moore looks smooth. They look like they're multiple. They had what, like 7 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different guys catch a pass tonight. Like over 176 rushing yards between 3 people getting a majority of the carriers. Dante Moore even had 10 carries himself. Like, it just feels like there's so many ways this Oregon offense can attack, and the defense just plays with this level of intensity and tenacity that they get from their head coach. And they're a dangerous team, man. And there's no reason. I don't think there's any reason they're not going to be 12-0. But this is a brutal loss for Penn State, dude. This is just a gut punch. Like, it's one of those things where you had the chance, you tied it up, you get it to overtime, and again, you fall short. So all the pressure in the world is on Penn State now, to find a way to, gosh, if they lose to Ohio State again, man. I'm not sitting here. I don't want to sit here and be like calling for James Franklin's job, because I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's ridiculous, actually. But this is just who they are. And until they're not, this is just who they are. And there he is. We've been joined by the young Drusif. Let me see if I can find him. There he is. What's up, dude? Can you hear me? Drew.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hold on, one sec.
Dude, we're already live, by the way. Wait on him to get his headphones. We're professional podcasters. Live editing and headphones. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah,
dude. So I've already went through. I started, and I just kind of give my thoughts on. I went through all the core 4 games just kind of briefly.
Yeah.
I gave most of my thoughts on the Georgia Bama game first.
Sure.
So do you want to go ahead and let me know what you think? You said it in the Instagram live chat on Thursday during the show. You're like, it's Bama by 3, boys, and I was like,
yeah, man. This game went pretty much exactly how I thought it would.
Same.
Alabama jumped out to the 14-0 lead, and a buddy of mine texted me and was like, just it's fine. Like, Kirby spots Bama 14-point leads all the time. I was like, oh yeah, he kind of does do that.
Yeah, and he's 1-7 versus Bama.
Right.
When has that worked out for him? Like, it worked against Tennessee.
Yeah.
But when has spotting Bama 14 points worked out for him?
Yeah, exactly. It was. I was like, I don't know. And as Georgia's run game, incredible, so great.
Yep.
That was the only thing that kept them in the game the entire way, was that they were busting off, an average of maybe 7 to 8 yards a carry each time they touched the ball, whether it was Gunnar Stockton or one of their tailbacks. It was really working for them. But it went about how I thought it would, and it's it's another time that
it's the same. It's the same story.
Yeah.
It's the same result, different, same shit, different day. There we go.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was so hard for me to get out, but dude, one thing that I highlighted, like, it feels like Bama elevates when they play Georgia, like, regardless of how they looked.
Sure.
Because to come out and to go 8 for 8 on third down.
Yeah.
To start 8 for 8 on third down, and Ty Simpson looked surgical, dude.
Sure.
And I don't want to take away from Bama winning the game, and I don't want to sit here and say Georgia lost this game, because I feel like watching most of the other Bama games, well, Georgia Bama games specifically, it feels like Bama went out and won those games.
Yeah.
This time, it feels like Georgia lost this game.
I think you're right there. I don't think you're off base at all, because there were points late in this game that Georgia had to absolutely take this one by the throat. And I think there were points, there were throws, and I think there were play calls in this game that I just was not a huge fan of, because they weren't going for the kill. And I mean, I think that's exactly why Georgia ended up losing this ball game. Like, not necessarily a lack of talent, which, I mean, Malcolm called it on our main podcast show. I mean, Colby Young is a star. I was like, when he said that, I was like, yeah, he had a good game versus Tennessee. That's great. But Zachariah Branch is still the guy. No, I think Colby Young is still the guy.
Yeah.
I think he's taken that mantle until Zachariah Branch wants to take it back from him.
Dude, to have a dude that's like true 6'6",
sure,
and to be able to have that contact balance that he has, because there's so many big receivers, there's so many big dudes that when they get hit, and just barely hit, they get thrown off their center of gravity and they're down.
Yeah.
But Colby feels like one of those guys that his contact balance is incredible. So the thing I wanted to talk about specifically, because again, I don't want to not give praise to Bama, because again, Ty Simpson looked incredible in this game, and
I thought the defense for them looked very, very much improved. It looked a different unit than we saw in the Florida State game, for sure.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I opened the show talking about, I feel like a lot of people saw that Florida State game. They saw that Florida State result and they thought, oh, dude, Bama sucks. And it's like, no. Number one, it's the first game of the season. Number two, Gus Malzahn does some weird shit.
Right.
So, when you're defending Gus Malzahn in the opening game of the season, you're not going to see the same looks that you're going to see when you play Georgia in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, technically. Now, I will say, I do think that Georgia at one point, specifically that last drive they had, it felt like they just kind of ditched the run. And Chauncey Bowens was averaging like 9.9 yards a carry. And I don't know if that was, maybe they saw something. Maybe they saw something like, hey, Bama's going to load the box, so let's see if we can air it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You get the ball, you have about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you just a 2-yard run for Chauncey, pass complete to Chauncey. Gunner runs for a loss, almost what was a busted play, I think. Yeah. I don't know what happened there, but that play just kind of fell apart. And then after you get the first down to Zachariah Branch, you do 3 straight pass plays.
Sure.
You just I don't know. I don't know if they felt like they didn't have time to run the ball, but just the way that you'd been running that ball all week, or all game, not all week.
Yeah.
It was weird to see the way that they shied away from that. And then something that I also highlighted was the 4th down play, where they turned it over on downs.
Yeah.
On the Bama 5-yard line or Bama 7-yard line. That felt so out of character for them to rush to the ball, try to catch Bama off
and then hand it to the third down back.
And try to do it's a screen. It's more or less a screen to catch Jones.
Yeah.
That play felt so out of character. And it's another one of those times where I feel like there are so many. I've watched so many Georgia games where a team that's playing Georgia does something like that, and it ends up costing them the game. And Georgia doesn't do it unless they play Bama. Sure. The moment they're playing Alabama, they make those mistakes.
Yeah, in what world would they ever call that play if it was not versus Alabama? It wouldn't even be a thought in Kirby Smart's mind. And I think there was the touchdown review earlier in the game where Kirby Smart wanted to go fast. and he wanted to go ahead and punch it in. And it was like, oh, they're obviously short. I kind of think that played a little bit of a factor here. Maybe not. Maybe that wasn't the sole factor that they did this, but it was kind of like the same thing where he was like, I don't want this reviewed. Like, I just want to go fast. We're going to pick this up no matter what because we're going fast. Tempo, move it into the end zone. Boom. Like, I think that definitely played a factor for Georgia. Where it was like, well, we don't want a repeat of what happened in the first half, even though they ended up scoring on that play or the next play after that.
It was like, they still got it.
Yeah, we want to be able to establish like going quick, get in the red zone. And I thought the play call was awful because I just didn't see what is the upside when you hand it to him on that play call. Like it, at very best, you barely get that. You barely get that first down at very best.
And it's like I don't necessarily have a problem with the play call itself. The issue I have is the speed at which you did it. Like trying to rush, catch, like instead of just sticking to what you'd been doing, what had been working, which was running the ball, you're like, hey, let's catch him off guard. It's like, whoa, okay. And then LT Overton just makes a play.
Yeah.
So like it's not to shy away from the fact that, hey, Bama made a play when they needed to make a play.
Yeah.
But it's like, it felt like that play didn't fit for the rest of the way the game was called for Georgia.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah, sure.
So, and it's another one of those things where it's like these small margins of error, because when these two teams play each other, I mean, we're talking about like from an athlete standpoint, dude, it's just different. It's like if these two teams play Ohio State or Oregon, these teams that perennially recruit in like the top 5 and have these loaded raw, like it's just the margins of error are so small.
Yeah.
And maybe it's one of those things that as a Georgia fan watching so many Georgia games, I don't realize it when it happens because they get away with it when they play like a Missouri or a South Carolina or someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it only shows up in these Bama games because it's an athlete for athlete match.
Yeah.
I thought what it is.
Maybe you're right. That maybe have something going forward because they're going to play again. Maybe if not this year, they're going to play. They're going to play. Twice next year. Like or well, actually, we don't know that anymore with the guarantee games. But point being, like Alabama, Georgia always find their way back to one another. So
yeah, I mean I was texting, or my brother called me when Bama went up 14-0, and he was like, "Dude, it's happening again." I was like, "Yeah, man. Are you surprised?" Like, this is, and I know it's so lame, but like in the prediction show on Thursday, and I want to get to Pigpen's comment real quick. Emergency in Fayetteville, SOS. Listen, brother.
Oh boy.
That's
great.
Sam Pittman's welcome to come back to Georgia, but that was ugly today, what Notre Dame did.
You may have to pay for a ticket. Shit, he ain't coming back to the sideline after that one.
Yeah, it was rough, man. And that was a prove it game for Notre Dame, like 1 and 2 backs against the wall. Like Jeremiah Love absolutely balled today for like two rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. Yeah, I mean the Jadarian Price touchdown, which I tweeted out the video of it. Like he put the nail in the coffin of the Sam Pittman era in Arkansas, man. I mean,
it was really a terrible spot for Arkansas, and that's why you can't lose the Memphis game because when you're playing Notre Dame the next week, that game just becomes all the more evident of like, oh yeah, you can't lose that. And I mean, Notre Dame's in a unique spot where they can't lose in a single other game the entire year. And they may be the best 2-2 team in the country. So although I thought it was super, super rough for Arkansas, I thought it was more a statement for Notre Dame than anything.
Agreed.
Like did it need to be, was the blowout, did it need to be that big? No. Did I feel like Notre Dame's 43 points better than Arkansas? No. But I mean, sometimes it just happens that way when you're trying to make a statement.
Yeah, sometimes the snowball starts rolling down the hill and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
So, it was rough. But final thoughts. I mean, I feel like we've kind of exhausted the Bama Georgia game. I mean,
What
It
is there
is
to
what it
say,
is at
man?
this point, man.
Every year
Yeah, it's Kirby beats everybody except Alabama
in the
until he
regular
starts beating
season.
Bama. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Until he starts beating Bama, I'm not gonna pick them. I'm not.
Save me in the core four, dude. Jeez.
Did you
Rough week for everybody except Bama on my board. Whew.
oof. Oof.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, dude, you took some shots. I respect it. Like, I
To be
respect it.
fair, I do kind of wait to see what everybody picks, and if there's a game where we've all picked the same one, then yeah, I take the other team. Just just
I
for the sake
respect
of
it.
parity. That
I
way you
respect
can
it.
a little parity in the graphic.
Hey, it's a strategy. You try to catch up in the records. So
Yeah.
I respect it. I respect it. But oh man, there was a listen. I picked the Georgia Bama game off principle. Okay, and I told the boys that on Thursday. I'm picking this game off principle. I've watched every time I've watched Georgia be this close
Yeah.
and not do it. And we previewed another game with another team that played at the same time
Yeah.
that I also picked on principle because I've watched them be this close and not do it. And that's Penn State, dude. I mean, they did it again. They found a way to lose to Oregon.
Yeah, they did. And man, I really need to get something because Penn State is the reason that I was late because they made me fall asleep because I was just like, golly, man, this team so boring. Goodness gracious, I'm trying. Oh my gosh, dude, Drew Aller has no excuse. I do not understand why anyone in the world would have an excuse for the guy who is I believe he's a 5th-year senior. I don't know. Maybe he's a 6th-year. I don't keep up that close with Mr. Aller, but I was listening to the Bill Simmons pod, and he had Todd McShay on this past week, and they were doing college QBs. McShay is the evaluator. He's over at the Ringer now, and he was kind of talking like the one thing that he didn't get was why does Drew Aller have a 1st-round grade? Well, Todd McShay, I have no idea because Drew Aller was awful in this game for 80 to 85% of it. I mean, he was terrible. And they couldn't move the ball. They could, and because he was so bad, I mean, Oregon's just bearing down on this run game, and their two-headed monster is just not working. Like it just was not working. Like it was very tough. And then all of us, I mean, I got ready to come in here and dunk on him. Then he throws 2 touchdowns, so his stats look a little better. I think he ended with like 132 and 2 touchdowns, and he throws the interception. But man, James Franklin, I don't know if this was your fault. I think it's just your fault that you kept Drew Aller at quarterback.
I mean, I kind of think they are what they are at this point with Penn State. And I know that's boring analysis, and I know but like I said it right before you joined the show. When someone when something shows you a level of consistency in not being able to do something, it becomes less of a coincidence and more of a pattern.
Yeah.
And like I know it's not fun to sit here and say James Franklin hasn't won big games, but he hasn't. I mean, this is who Penn State is. Until they're not, this is who Penn State is.
What is the stat? Are they now like 2-18?
Like 4-20
in
versus
top
like top
25?
5 opponents. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Versus like, yeah, it's something ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You'll hear it on every show. Like it's not a lot to a lot in terms of wins versus losses. That's all you really need to know. I'll be honest, Drew. I don't know where Penn State goes from here, man. I mean, I saw nothing from them tonight because like I was trying to watch this game while I was also trying to watch the Georgia game.
Sure.
So I didn't get to watch it as intently as I wanted to, but like I saw nothing from them tonight that made me think they're going to be anything more than what they were last year. And that's that they'll beat everybody else on their schedule, except Oregon and Ohio State. They'll make the playoff. They'll probably win the 1st-round game depending on who that's against, because with this year, they're probably not going to get a free 1st round against Boise State or SMU. Sorry, they're not going to get 2 1st rounds against Boise State.
No, SMU won't be there.
No, they're definitely not. They're probably going to get a 1st-round game against like a 10-2 Georgia or a 10-2 Bama or a 10-2 LSU or a 10 like that's who they're going to end up playing. And if they first round exit on the same problem and they end up 10-3 and they lost to the 3 teams that are better than them, it's like, yeah, these are the games you probably should have lost. But eventually, at some point, if you want to be taken serious as a contender, you have to beat a team that you're not supposed to beat.
Yeah.
That's what separated all these other upper echelon programs, is that eventually at some point they beat somebody that they weren't supposed to beat.
Yeah. I will say for Penn State in this game, something to take with you was that they did slow this Oregon offense down for as long as anybody, I think, can, like possibly can.
Yeah.
But this year has been an interesting experiment for the Oregon offense and Dante Moore. And by experiment, I mean they've been running the F over teams like the entire year. Like even Oregon State, which I think was probably their. Am I off there? Was that their best game to this point?
No, Oklahoma State they beat 69-3.
No,
Oregon
their
State
best,
they beat 41.
their best game that they had.
Oh,
I think was Oregon State.
The best team they've played,
or like just best game in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but anyways, Penn State. I will say your defense. Oh, they played Northwestern 34-14.
Northwestern was but that felt more of like a Oregon just kind of stepped off the gas.
Yeah,
they're like, this game's over.
Sure, but I mean, Penn State. The only positive you take away from this is that you slowed this offense down, and they would have ended with 17 points in regulation. So you take that away from you. Dane Lenning's the man. I trust him just about, unless they're playing Ohio State, I trust him. If they play Ohio State, all bets are off after last year. But I mean, I think he's clearly the second best coach in the Big Ten, or maybe just second, most trusted head coach in the Big Ten. And maybe first because Ryan Day was. I mean, they were calling for his head before he won the Natty last year.
Yeah, because he couldn't beat. Here's the thing: is I don't know, because I haven't seen Dan play enough, like, I guess big games like this, because I don't know if Oregon gets enough. But we saw him play Georgia in the 2022 opening season. But that was his first year. Like he had been there. He had been in Oregon for like 6 months. So like I wasn't going to reap a whole lot from that result. But I mean, to come into the Big Ten your first year, beat Ohio State, you get them at home, but beat the eventual national champion and win the conference is huge, man. I mean, I think they've firmly cemented themselves as the best or second best, depending on the year and how good Ohio State is, program in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I know Michigan fans
I don't think
might
there's
look
a
at
doubt.
me and be like, I mean, I know Michigan fans might not like that because Michigan won the title 2 years ago, but that was a Oregonless Big Ten that they went through. So, and right now I would pick Oregon over Michigan. I would have picked them last year, pick them again this year. So,
yeah.
But until Penn State shows us they're not
this. Yeah, you might as well you're absolutely right. It's the same thing with it is the same thing with Georgia. There are two different scenarios, but it's the exact same thing in these spots.
The only difference is that Georgia's fine with everybody else in their conference except one team, and Penn State just struggles with the 3 teams above 2 to 3 teams above them, depending on the year in the conference.
Right.
Whether Michigan's up there or not, because like they avoid Michigan this year. But this year, I'd probably be like, "Hey, if you're going to beat Michigan, this is the year."
This is going to be the year, sure. Yeah.
Because if they get Michigan next year or the year after that, year 2, year 3, Bryce Underwood, better weapons. We know what they are on the line. Michigan's probably going to be better than you.
Yeah.
So, anything final on that game before we move on?
Nope. I got off what I wanted to get off.
All right. What do you make of Auburn?
Ooh, good question.
I know you picked Auburn in this game.
So
again, I mostly want to know why.
Again, I picked Auburn because I knew none of you guys were going to pick them, because I know my podcast family. Like I knew it's like I thought about it. I was like, all right, Malcolm and Greg, there's no way they pick Auburn. And I was like, the only two that may pick Auburn are Chase and Joseph, and I was like, that I just didn't see it. So I went ahead and picked them. Here's why I picked Auburn. They did what I thought they were going to do. They did it last week at Oklahoma. This is a really good muck the game team up, or muck the game up team.
They're going to drag you down into the mud.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. But unfortunately, they have Jackson Arnold playing quarterback for them. And unfortunately, we kind of know what Jackson Arnold is, and we have for a while. Like it's not like we're not discovering anything new. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're not discovering fire by rubbing two sticks together here. Like we know what Jackson Arnold is. Like we got it. Like we know. And so the only thing I thought in this game was, okay, Auburn is going to muck this game up just like they did against Oklahoma. Marcel Reed is a little shaky. That's the best way I can describe him. Where if, the wrong 50-50 ball goes into the hands of Auburn, then yeah, sure. If the wrong 50-50 ball goes the way of Auburn, then they have a legit shot to win in this game. But I mean, the touchdown that they even got in this game, because I was kind of following this one on my phone. I'll be honest. I tried really hard to follow this one. I was, I didn't catch all of it, but the touchdown they got even late in the game kind of felt like, oh, all right, you guys did it. Yay, good job, Auburn. Yeah. But you have no chance of winning this game because now you have to go do it again. And you fought tooth and nail even to get this one. So,
yeah, that's my
I mean, Cam Coleman, dude, like that's I'll bet on him every time. But it's just Auburn has
underutilized, man.
Yeah, no, it's like Hugh Freeze and whoever, I don't know who's calling the plays over there. I'll be honest, but it's like they forget he exists. It's like, here's a guy, he's 6'6", he's faster, more athletic than everybody. He's taller than everybody he's playing. It's like, yeah, but do we really want to get him the ball, or can we just run a little jet sweep to Eric Singleton real quick? Like, no, nobody wants to see that. Like, give the ball to the 6'6" guy.
Here's a question for you. How much of this, because my analysis of Auburn, or my thoughts on Auburn, is it feels like they have to fight tooth and nail to move the ball.
Yeah.
Like it's such a struggle for them to move the ball.
Sure.
And how much of that do you think is Jackson Arnold, and how much of that do you think is just the offense that Hugh Freeze runs?
Yeah. I think I think it's I don't think it's at all even 50% Jackson Arnold's fault, because last year, using personal experience, I watched them in the Vanderbilt game, and I was like, I didn't have any fear of Vanderbilt losing the game, because they just can't score. They have no ability to score. And Vanderbilt, they are what they are this year. But last year, they were out. They were in legitimate danger of still losing every game they played. And I don't understand going out in the portal and getting Jackson Arnold and then running the offense the way that Hugh Freeze does. I don't understand where the disconnect is. Okay, you went and got Jackson Arnold. Why don't you build an offense around him that helps him out? Because you know what he is. You're not stupid. Maybe he is. Maybe Hugh Freeze is stupid. I'm not sure.
It feels like watching Auburn, I'm seeing a lot of the same issues I saw last year with Peyton Thorne. They're just, instead of them being turnovers, they're just incompletions or sacks. Yeah. And it's like, hey, at least he's not throwing 4 picks a game, but Jackson's either not trusting what he's seeing, he doesn't like the offense that Hugh's running, and he's holding onto the ball, which is leading to sacks, which is, while it's not as bad as the turnovers, it's still not good.
Sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards it just being the offense that Hugh Freeze runs.
I don't think you'd be wrong there.
And it's one of those things where when it works great, and they're going to look incredible. But when it doesn't work and it looks tough, you're going to look like you've looked the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Where every yard you gain feels like a miracle.
A little bit of a hot take for you. I think they give Georgia a game.
I think they do too.
I think they I know the Jordan Hare stuff is well founded, but it's not just that. Auburn actually has talent to match Georgia this year, and they are now in desperation, have to have it mode. And that's not the spot I want to be in if I were Georgia.
Yeah.
When they roll, when they having to roll into Jordan Hare.
No, I'm with you. I think it's going to be one of those situations where, because I think Auburn is on a bye week this week. Yeah, they're on a bye week this week. Georgia plays Kentucky at home, and then Georgia comes to Auburn.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to be one of those like reset the season games where Hugh's like going to almost use it as an excuse to keep his job.
Yeah. Throw the
Like, hey, we
kitchen
beat,
sink in. Yeah.
you know, and he's going to pull. Yeah, I'm very nervous for that Georgia Auburn game
Yeah.
at Auburn.
I would be. Yeah.
But I don't know. 177 total yards. I mean, they had 10 points and 9 first downs, dude. Like, it's just, that's brutal. That's brutal, dude. And it's got to be 0 for 13.
9 first downs. That's
0
awesome.
for 13 on third down.
Yeah. Yeah. That's almost as bad as it felt like the Georgia game was today. But
Yeah.
man.
And it's like, I don't want to just sit here and take away from Texas A&M, but like, I don't think they were.
No, they didn't.
Le'Veon Moss was great. Le'Veon Moss
special
was great today. Yeah, but they did what they needed to do, which is something that you haven't been able to say about A&M over the past few years. And I think it's a welcome change with Mike Elko. Is they're like, hey, if we win this game 42-10, if we win it to 16-10, it doesn't matter. We got to win the game.
Right.
And sticking with Le'Veon Moss and having the success you're having in the traditional run game, I think shows that elevation in coaching staff and culture.
Yeah.
Versus what you had with Jimbo, where it's like, hey, Le'Veon's working. Give him the ball.
Yeah.
Give him the ball. So, yeah, a good win for Texas A&M. It's going to be a long season for Auburn.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
If the same thing happens when Deuce Knight comes out, because, I don't know. I
think they're a 6-6 candidate in my mind. They're gonna have to be. It's gonna be real interesting because looking at their schedule the other day when I did a Twitter thread for us. It's like, where are they gonna get these wins? Like, I don't feel that they're any better than a lot of these teams that they're playing. They may be more talented, but on like as a full unit, no, that they're not any better than these teams.
Yeah. I mean, if they pick off Georgia, they're 4-2 with Missouri coming in, and then you're at Arkansas. Sam Pittman might not be on the sideline for Arkansas at that point. You've got Kentucky at home, which, to be honest with you, if Arkansas waits and like if they fire Sam Pittman the week before the Auburn game, watch out, because the hey, we just fired our coach rule kicks in. And
the new coach hire. Yeah, you already know.
The interim head coach.
The Oklahoma State Cowboys looked phenomenal today. So let me just tell you, it's a real thing.
If Arkansas waits and ditches Sam Pittman before the Auburn game, and just expect Taylor Green to throw for 5 touchdowns. So if he does that, I don't know if Auburn's going to be able to keep up. That's another thing too I noticed about this game is Auburn is not a team that can play in a hole.
Yeah, same. Like they're playing. Them and Oklahoma are very similar teams. Let me tell you, like I noticed that immediately. Like the difference is John Mateer. Like if Auburn had John Mateer, they probably win this game.
Yeah, and I think the difference also is I think Venables is a better defensive coordinator or defensive caller than who Auburn's got. Not saying the guy at Auburn's bad. His name's escaped me, but not saying he's bad, because I think he's doing the best he can with what the other side of the ball looks like, and then putting you in shitty situations.
Yeah,
like to hold A&M to 16 points. I mean, you held Oklahoma to 24 with 10 sacks. He's doing the best he can. So, yeah. But any final thoughts? I know we just spent like 20 minutes on the Auburn punching bag.
No, it's well founded what we think about Hugh Freeze on this pod, and the seat's getting hotter. Let me tell you, because if he can't do it, the donors and all them, the money will find somebody that wants to do it. So
they'll find somebody else. They'll keep cycling through coaches until they find.
I'll tell you, buyouts are meaning less and less. Like I saw a story today about how like it just. If they want you gone nowadays, they'll just pay you the money to get out of there because there's so much money coming into college athletics. So
yep. So, Well, Drew, there was one final game on the Core Four. Happened down in
Yeah.
Mississippi
Yeah.
at the Grove. Ole
In
Miss beats LSU.
in Oxford, I believe. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Oxford, Mississippi.
Really, really odd game. I
Yeah.
mean, like I not now. Okay, I want to get your take on this because when I first saw the stadium or not the stadium, the schedule for this week, I thought, huh, well that sucks. Why are Oregon, Penn State, and Georgia, Alabama at the same time? Like, why can't like I honestly thought that Oregon, Penn State should have been at noon, or Mississippi, Ole Miss, LSU should have been at noon because those were the three best games of the day. And I, like you, was trying to watch. I was trying to watch Alabama, Georgia, but then I have to keep looking up at my second screen watching Oregon, Penn State, and I'm not gonna lie, this game for me kind of got discarded for the Tennessee Mississippi State game. Like
that game was incredible.
I was kind of like looking at it on my phone, and I was like, man, I'm more interested in Joey Aguilar and the boys, and I hate Tennessee. Like it was, yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to see what you thought.
No, I mean, I kind of talked about this game a little bit before you hopped in, and I don't want to sit here and beat a dead horse, but like the run game for LSU is just non-existent.
I saw Caden Durham was out, and I kind of like I immediately regretted picking them in the core four because I was like, well, they don't have anybody else to run the ball. Like it's not like somebody's just ready to step up. Like Harlem Berry, I don't know. Who knows who that is? Yeah,
it was rough. It was rough, and those inconsistencies in the run game and their inability to stay on schedule, it shows up in the way that Garrett Nussmeier plays because it's all on him. If Garrett isn't playing lights out, LSU is not moving the ball.
I don't know when we start this dialogue, but the guys that were supposed to be the guys this year are not the guys. Garrett Nussmeier is not the guy. Cade Klubnik is not the guy. Arch Manning to this point is not the guy. Like we have a lot of evidence here, and I almost
guy. You know who's been the guys? Dante Moore.
Ty Simpson. Sure. Ty Simpson. Gunnar Stockton even. Yeah. I know he didn't have a great game tonight, but
I think that's more along the lines of like the game plan for Georgia.
Yeah, sure. But like I honestly, when I'm looking at Nussmeier, I honestly wonder if, you've talked about before Nussmeier, like all this work he's done to change his decision making and change how, himself to be the quarterback that like Brian Kelly and the staff really want him to be. I honestly wonder if that's hurting his product. Like, is he playing it too safe now for LSU? Is he getting to the point where it's like he's second guessing every single like maybe rash decision that he would make? Because he looks like a different quarterback to me than what we saw. Like last year, yes, I think he was a little better. Now you could say like, oh, the interceptions, the decision making is a lot worse. And it didn't really matter because LSU was not, in line for a college football playoff spot almost at any point last year. But that's kind of where I'm at with Nussmeier. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Why is it so safe to the point? And he throws an interception in this game. Like, I get it. I do. But I don't know. The guys that were supposed to be the guys are not the guys. And Drew Aller and Garrett Nussmeier are perfect examples of that today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I earlier on in the show, I made a public apology to Ole Miss because
I forgot you were way out.
Yep. Yeah. I was not like hey, they're going to fall off a cliff, but like
you said like 9-3, which is
7-5.
Did you?
You said 9-3. You said 9-3.
Yeah.
I said 7-5. I was like, hey, I think they're going to lose. I think they could lose to Tulane. I think they're going to lose to LSU. I think they're going to lose to. After seeing all these teams,
I think you said Kentucky too. Which after watching Kentucky for a little bit today, I was like, oh wow, yeah.
Hey, listen, Kentucky was in that game against Ole Miss. In my defense, and then so was Arkansas. Like those two games, I don't feel bad about.
Yeah,
but I will tell you what I did not see coming was this team looking the way they look with Trinidad Chambliss. Because
I know, what a revelation.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, it's a testament to experience. Because watching Austin Simmons, the talent's there, but his decision making and the way he turns the ball over, I think eventually they would have went to Trinidad anyways, regardless of if Austin got hurt.
Sure.
This dude just looks like he's in control and he's in command. And it's because he's played so much football. He was a D2 national champion. He's an older guy. Like, if Ole Miss wants to have success this season, Trinidad's the dude moving forward.
Oh, and they know that. I think that's very evident. Like, Austin Simmons.
I'm not telling my staff nothing that they don't know.
Right. I think you're right.
For weeks. So
sure. Like Austin Simmons, like you're right. The talent is there. But I mean, I think you mentioned it before in the Tulane game. Like, you could just see this offense was like, oh, thank God. Like, we're opened up. Like, we don't have to be so tight trying to work around Austin Simmons and his deficiencies now. Like, here's a guy that can actually sling it, who, more importantly, knows when to tuck it and run it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't want to sit here and beat up on LSU, because I'm sure that reporter that asked about the run game after the
he'll do it for us.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to ask that question to Brian Kelly.
Sure.
So,
and
I will say, if they don't get it figured out, I don't think this is the last loss LSU is going to take, because the defense is great.
Yeah,
but they can only do so much. Like,
it's not to this extreme, but it's kind of like the Florida scenario. It's getting close, and with Clemson no longer looking like the best win, with Vanderbilt, A&M, Alabama, and Oklahoma still left on your schedule, you got to pull at least 3 of those 4 out, and then you got to win the rest to have a chance for postseason eligibility, in my mind. So, yeah, man, a little concerned, but LSU's not dead. Neither is Georgia. Both teams that took losses today. So
both these teams are fine. They still got a lot to play for. Like,
sure,
but I think both those teams could still make the SEC title game.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Will they? I don't know, but they could. So
you could tell me about maybe 1,500 different combinations of the SEC title game right now, and I'd believe you on just about all of them. I'd be like, sure, yeah. Texas A&M, Missouri, yeah, absolutely. I'm there with you.
Yeah. You can tell me it finds a way to be Texas A&M and Tennessee, and I'd be like, yeah. Sure. Why not? Right? So yeah. Anything else? Might have covered it. Yeah, actually, Garrett, that's literally what we were just talking about, brother. We just said that Chambliss at quarterback, they look more mature as an offense. He looks more in command. Because I again, not to rehash it, but I was really down on Ole Miss with Austin Simmons as a starting quarterback.
And I think you're right on. Like, I think if they had gone to Chambliss in the Kentucky game, I don't think that game's anywhere near as close as it was.
They ended up having to. And
was it later in that game? Yeah, you're right.
Yep. That's the game that Simmons got hurt in.
Yeah.
And then I think he started the Arkansas game.
Yeah.
But, Arkansas is a different team at that point. They hadn't lost a game. They got a lot more to play for. Like, that's not the same Arkansas team that probably rolled out against Notre Dame today.
Sure.
So, anything else you saw from the slate today? Anything else?
Ooh, I have a lot of random thoughts. Yeah. I have a lot of random thoughts. Man, Tennessee, I thought they were going to lose it. Like, I went into the game, and my buddy was texting me. We text about, gambling, betting, all that. He was like, Tennessee minus 8.5. I was like, no, I'm not. No way. I was like, nope. It's like, this is a classic Heupel game. And Tennessee staff, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. What are you doing? I mean, we just gave you credit for the Georgia game, and then you do some crap like that. Like, they wait till late in the third quarter to unsheathe Deshaun Bishop. They're like, oh yeah, this guy right here, he's our best player, but let's just run swing passes to Star Thomas for the majority of this game. Like, I like Star Thomas, I do, but then you use the past success to, oh man. Shout out Mississippi State. I think they had a bomb in this game that got dropped by Brennan Thompson. The better team won. It should not have taken Tennessee this long to win this game convincingly. And because they won this game, this was their road trap game. Feel very good about the Volunteers moving forward. Yep. So, and then quickly I'll go over Vandy.
Hit me with your
sure, man. I texted
the quickest doors 2 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure,
whatever.
Sure. Doors 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. I texted in the group chat and I was like, or Chase was like, "How are we feeling?" Because of course he was trolling because I think it was 14-14 when he texted, and I would have done the same exact thing. I should have sent him one back during the Tennessee game, but I felt great because I thought they were going to lose this game. I really did. I really thought Utah State was going to come in there, and you're looking forward to Bama next week, and you know everything that's on the line in that game. And of course, with Bama winning now, there's an argument to be made that College Game Day should be going to Bryant-Denny for Alabama Vanderbilt, but I get it. Actually, they should be because Florida State lost to Virginia, which I don't know if you covered before I got on, but
I have not covered that game, but I do have some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I get done, I'll let you rock with that one. But yeah, man, this offense is surgical. I mean, now again, they're still missing a lot of open field tackles. This is still a team that I think good SEC offenses are going to be able to have success with in bunches, in droves. But we'll see next week, man. I watched this Alabama game today versus Georgia, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that Vanderbilt can play with this team. I'll just say that. Not like last year was fluky. Last year you get the Milroe pick early in the game. They go up 13-0, super quick, and you're just like, and they kind of punch them in the mouth, and they get some luck on their side. They get like a fourth down play action conversion from Pavia. This year is more of, okay, this team is going to have to outscore Alabama, but they can actually play with Alabama, which is so weird to say. That's so strange. I mean, it's wild. Like Pat McAfee today was on game day, and he was like, how weird is this to say? Vanderbilt has a trap game today. I was like, that is so weird to me. Yeah. Like this ordinarily would be a game that like we'd be, lucky to win by 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm super interested for Bryant-Denny next week. I won't be surprised at all if Alabama's talent and just overall ability just kind of runs Vanderbilt off the field. But yeah, man, go ahead and rock on Florida State because that was a game that I watched on Friday night, and I was like, man, if they lose this game, like game day is supposed to be there next week. Like it's supposed to be the battle of the unbeaten Florida teams. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe you just go to Alabama because like you didn't go to you didn't go to Georgia for Georgia. So you went to Penn State, Oregon, and objectively Alabama, Georgia was a better game. Like, and Penn State made it close at the end, I know, but I mean,
it was shaping up that way. Like the way that Penn State surged.
Sure. I feel like the general public is probably more interested in the Alabama Vanderbilt game than they would be the Miami Florida State game. I mean,
after watching the way, like, okay, here's where I'm at. Not early preview, but like kind of early preview. Here's where I'm at as far as Florida State and Miami. So, like, clearly Miami's better on the line of scrimmage.
Sure.
But I also thought Alabama was better on the line of scrimmage than Florida State. Now, that's not a shot at Florida State because I think they're vastly improved on the line of scrimmage than they were from last year. But then I think back and I'm like, well, this kind of like gimmicky Gus Malzahn offense, and he gets like these sneaky plays. The game's in Tallahassee.
You're rolling the dice with Castellanos as well, man. That somebody was texting me asking me like, hey, why is Florida State only a 6.5 point favorite versus Virginia? And I kind of thought it was ridiculous, but I was like, what? You just don't. Oh yeah. I was like, you just don't know.
Vegas got me.
You just don't know when you don't know what Tommy Castellanos' worst game looks like. Like you haven't seen it yet. You've seen his best game versus Alabama. You've seen what that looks like, and then you've seen him play 2, FCS Division II, Division III, whatever they were.
Yeah,
teams.
Where they dropped 70 or whatever. But
and so you see Castellanos, and he's just like Virginia. Pretty much had a very clear motto. It was, all right, screw it, 5 people at him every single time. Make him uncomfortable. And he got some really, really quick feet back there later in this game. And it ended up, in my opinion, being the reason that Virginia won this game.
So to get back to the take I was going to give earlier, which wasn't really specifically about Florida State, but it was mostly that like leading from the Florida State game into like, probably like the middle, like the afternoon window today, because I didn't see it as much as in the night game. A lot of sloppy football. A lot of footballs on the ground. A lot, specifically the USC game, stuck out to me. Like, and then it also happened in the Ohio State game. A lot of fumbles, ball security. I don't know what's in the water this year, but like defenses have figured out how to hit the ball. They've got the punch down because there were 2 times in the Florida State game. One, they were in the red zone and they failed. I think they failed on 4th down. And another time they fumbled the ball in Virginia territory, like going into the end zone. And
Yeah.
watching the way that Florida State had moved the ball, I was like, if they get points on those 2 drives, they run away with this thing.
Yep.
But they didn't. Same thing felt like with USC today. USC had chances. And they were like, if they don't fumble the ball, they don't throw these picks, just a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
And I just like watching it, I'm like, it feels like a lot of sloppy football early on in these, like, counting last night leading into this early window of the day. So that was my like observation / take.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that Florida State game last night came down to, like, Virginia just wanted it more. And
Florida
those
State.
critical turnovers for Florida State were just like, they're still a really good team.
Yeah.
But I think they are, and I'm trying to think of how to phrase this correctly. I think they're closer to that 2-10 team than they are to like a 12-0 team.
Sure. And I thought,
and I don't
coming
mean
into
that
this game,
to sound like,
sure, like,
because they're vastly improved than they were last, and not even just from a
Yeah.
talent standpoint, but like one of the things they pointed out in the broadcast last night with Florida State was they're like, hey, if this last year's Florida State team would have found themselves in this 14-point hole, they would have caved mentally. And I'm like,
Mhm.
they would have. They
Mhm.
would have caved and lost 35-7.
Sure.
And so the fact that they were able to battle
Yeah,
and stay in that game makes
shoot.
me feel vastly better about Florida
Yeah.
State. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Sorry, I think you froze a little bit there, so I was talking over you.
Oh, no.
The main thing really is just that this Florida State team, I don't think they expected to be in this spot, right? So
Yeah.
they come, and then, it's obviously they come in, they're like, oh crap, we're 3-0, we're the number 8 team in the country, we beat Alabama. So then you start playing a little bit tight, like you start like these expectations that are weighing upon you, and that was the main thing for me. I don't think there's any reason for alarm for Florida State, but I will say, if Miami doesn't win the ACC this year, they need to lock Mario Cristobal up. Like, he needs to be arrested and never allowed to coach football again, because the ACC is a mess, and he should win this conference with ease. Like, it shouldn't be very difficult for him. So, I don't think I have anything else. It was kind of a light college football day for me, compared to what it normally is. Do you want to give out some, what do we call them? What do we decide last time?
Well, I don't remember what we called it last week.
Okay.
Like,
Saturday studs.
Saturday studs. Yeah.
We'll do 2
the
apiece.
night
We'll
chat
do 2
Saturday
apiece.
studs. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do mine first.
Sure.
Give me Ty Simpson, dude.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Guy was surgical today. I mean, was just absolutely. You're going on the road, hostile environment. You're already down a game. Like, we know what the stakes are for Georgia, and you're just surgical.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You're calm the whole time. You've got command of the huddle. I think they had like one false start. It's Ty Simpson, dude. Like, guy looked stellar today. If that version that we talked about in July, where I gave the take where I was like, hey, this Alabama team and what they've got coming back reminds me of Ohio State from last year, where it's like Ty just doesn't have to screw it up. And I don't think he did in the Florida State game. I don't think he's the reason that they lost that game. But seeing what I saw from him tonight makes me think, oh, if this team, if they don't do what they did last year with Kalen DeBoer, where they win a big game and then fall apart a few times over the course of the year, which I don't think they will.
Yep.
I'm still a little bit concerned about the run game's inconsistencies, but I think they can go a very long way. And I feel a little bit better. I certainly feel better, not to shout out and take a shot at our boy Max Chadwick, but I certainly feel better about my national championship pick than he does. So yeah, my first Saturday stud is Ty Simpson, because he looked phenomenal tonight, man. He looked incredible.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. Well, My first Saturday stud is going to be a man that honestly played better than Ty Simpson today and lost, and that is Jalen Daniels of the Kansas Jayhawks. He had 505, or excuse me, 500. No, he had 500 total yards of offense for the Kansas Jayhawks today, and they lost. They lost. He had 445 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on 28 attempts. I might add. This wasn't a dude that threw 50 passes, and he had 55 yards rushing, and they lost to Cincinnati. This team sucks, like really, really bad. Free Jalen Daniels, like get him anywhere else but on this Kansas team. But you're getting my Saturday Stud Award because I don't know if there's many quarterbacks in the country that could have backpacked this Kansas team today the way that Jalen Daniels did. So that's my first one.
It's criminal.
So sad.
Yeah, it's criminal how bad Kansas is without Jalen Daniels.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if he was the quarterback at who's somebody that needs a quarterback? Who's somebody that's like a quarterback away?
Syracuse.
God.
Like if he
replaced, if he was the quarterback at Syracuse,
if he replaced Steve. If he was like the backup,
incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Or
Can you imagine if he was quarterback at like Clemson? You think that would work? No, I don't think that'd work.
What if he was the quarterback at like?
What if he was the quarterback for Notre Dame?
What about Utah?
Well, I feel like they kind of have like, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of a bad. I mean, that looks bad now because Devin Dempierre had a great game today, but it's just
West Virginia, dude. Like the issues that still exist for Utah in the Texas Tech game are still there with the downfield attack and stuff. South Carolina, I'll be honest with you, Garrett. I think I would take Lenore Sellers over Jalen Daniels. I think South Carolina's issues are much deeper than Lenore's.
You would, huh? Oh, man.
I think I would.
We're too far into this to get into that. That's so funny.
I think I would. I think I'd take Lenore Sellers because I've seen number one. I think Lenore is healthier than Jalen, and I mean what I mean by that is like sturdier and stays healthier. And you also got to think like Jalen's played, I think, 2 more years of football than Lenore's.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
that's
He's got a lot more experience. Like he's like a 4-year starter at Kansas or a 3-year starter at Kansas, and Lenore's is in year 2. And Lenore's looked really good last year, but South Carolina was much better around him.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Like that's I think a lot of South Carolina's issues stem much further past Lenore Sellers.
You're not off there at all. So, all right, I'm gonna do my second one. I'm gonna rip it off. It's gonna be another quarterback. I hate to just pick the same position, but
good because I'm go for it.
Yeah, there wasn't really a ton that happened today. I'll be honest. I mean, like some stuff happened, but it wasn't like what we've been getting with these upsets and stuff like that are just like, oh my goodness, like Troy's about to beat Clemson. So with all that being said, I am going to the ACC. It's going to be Miller Moss. He threw 51 passes today. I watched a little bit of this game. Me and you both picked the Panthers. I know we're regretting that now because Eli Holstein likes throwing it to the other team more than he does his own guys. But Miller Moss was good in this game.
Former Alabama quarterback Eli Holstein.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah,
dude. I mean, listen. It's like it's the story of the transfer quarterbacks from Alabama between him and Dylan Lonergan. Dylan Lonergan's having a much better time, even though you did call it today with Cal plus 6.5. So
come on.
I think. Yeah. Was that the only part of the chat slip that failed? I don't remember what.
Because I know Malcolm had.
Chase had Baylor minus 20.5, and I think they won by like
18. Yeah, 18. They did. Yeah,
so we were
2-2. Yeah, but yeah, Miller Moss, a guy that I think a lot of people kind of discarded after what happened at USC last year, has got Louisville. Now I know the schedule is not the most impressive thing, but they're 4-0 and they won their ACC opener, and I think they have a legitimate. I think they have a legitimate case, like just as wide open as the ACC is, with Miller Moss at the helm. I feel better about him than almost any other ACC quarterback. So there's my second one.
Cool. I did not choose another quarterback. I chose somebody that I think needs to be more involved in the offense that he's in, and I don't think anybody would disagree with me on that. I picked Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame in the absolute just drudging of the Arkansas Razorbacks today. Sorry, Penn Pig, Pig Pen, if you're still there. I don't mean to take a shot at your team. But Jeremiah Love had 2 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, and I think he's the first Notre Dame quarterback to ever do that in a game. I may be wrong on that, but I thought that was the stat they threw out on the broadcast. Jeremiah Love's insane, dude.
Crazy.
He's really good at football, and I know Jadarian Price is also really good at football. So I want to sit here and say any game where Jeremiah Love doesn't have 20 catches, or not 20 catches, 20 carries, or at least 20 attempts, whether that's between catches and rushes. If he doesn't have that amount of production, it's coaching malpractice. Let me also, little caveat, Jadarian Price is also really good. So if he's the hot hand, you feed the hot hand. So asterisk on that.
Right.
But Jeremiah Love is really good at football. He's really fun to watch. He gets my other Saturday Stud sticker.
Nice.
Saturday Stud sticker. Dude.
There we go. SSS.
We'll forget that.
I know. We'll remember it next week. I know.
What do we call that? No, we'll put it in the group chat. So it's Saturday Saturday Stud stickers.
We'll make your graphic. We'll make your graphic, hopefully.
Yeah. That's what we need. That's what we need. So
all right. Well, this was we're about an hour and 30. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be honest. I one minute I was watching the Alabama Georgia game, and I was about to hop up, about to go get on the night chat, and then the next minute my roommate is like shaking me awake, and I'm like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, dude, I riffed for like 20 minutes without you. The show is much better with you involved, because me by myself, it's like I tried, but
it's by yourself.
Well, it's mostly because, like, as a Georgia fan, I didn't want to come on here and be like I thought you had fallen asleep. I did. In my head, I was like, shit, Drew fell asleep. I was like, but I'm not going to cancel, because if I cancel, it's going to be like, oh, he's dodging because Georgia lost. Never do that. You won't see that from me. I'll tell it to you like it is. Georgia can't beat Bama.
Right.
So until they do, they won't.
Yeah.
And until Penn State beats Ohio State and Oregon, they won't. Sorry, it's getting out of hand. We got
that's what we learned this week.
We got to go, dog. So
see you guys.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, everybody.